Yes.
that we need to take to make sure that it's not a physical strength, but it's a spiritual strength that we are continually relying on.
Yeah.
That's what allows us to be able to properly multitask
Exactly.
and not give too much of ourselves away, and not always be yes, 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 but understand that there's an art in saying no.
It really is.
And when we say no, that means that we are not being selfish, but we are being proper stewards
Stewards. Yep.
of the temples that God has given to us, of the gifts and the talents that He has given to us. Because one thing about that Proverbs 31 woman, number one, we know she did not go without the strength and the Spirit of God.
Right.
And we know that rest had to be at the forefront of everything she did, or she would have not been able to do that. I think that's a lot of times why we get short, we get snippy, we have those moments where if you don't walk away, I'm about to go back to 1999 on you.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Because we have not properly done and revitalized ourselves in rest and restoration, so that we can continue to walk purposefully in the spiritual strength that God has anointed and purposed each one of us to have. You know, and because we have a tendency to feel as if we say no or not right now, then that makes us less than, and that means somebody is suffering. No, they suffer when we continue to say yes and we deprive ourselves of a yes.
That's right. I mean, and I've learned this wholeheartedly, stubborn, having, run the head into the ground. And the biggest thing that I realized is that, you can't pour from an empty cup. If you have
That's
nothing left in there is nothing else to pour. And I know as women, our natural beings is to caregive and to care about the people who are around us. But like you said, you have to take that pause and make sure that you are good first, because like we just established, you are the core, and without the core, there's no strength. That's a lesson from dance. If you were a dancer, I did ballet for numerous of years, and everyone looks at a ballerina and goes, oh my gosh, she's so beautiful, she's so grace. They turn and do all of that, but all of that is core work. Like, nothing with the leg. I mean, the legs help, but it's nothing without the core. Mm-hmm. So I'm saying all that to say, I have learned, and this is for me personally, but I think I can speak for most women and people in general. I have learned that the days and the moments that I am not making sure that I'm first spiritually, taking that time in the morning to just have a woosah and a talk with God, and to pray and to talk about my day and to get a plan. Those are the days that I'm about ready to kick everybody out the house.
Ain't zero tolerance.
Yeah, or we'll be running down the street screaming somewhere, ready to just, go crazy. Mm-hmm. So it's those moments of learning how to pause and learning how, like you said, to take care of yourself. It is an art, and it requires some practice. Some practice to learn how to pause and take care of yourself. Like that's just the truth to it. Especially if you have grown up in a household where women tend to be I don't know what the terminology is, but where it's predominantly women who are in charge and tend to be like, the head of the house. You see that offset balance of having the weight of the world on you and not being able to, or not knowing how to pause and put yourself first sometimes, and it can get misbalanced, and then that's when you tend to fall off and find yourself in deep depressions and different places that you just don't want to be at.
I absolutely agree, and and one of the things that, when you said when women tend to be the head of the house, one of the things that I learned as a single mother, it was very, very, it was brought to me very, very vivid. Because people used to, text me, call me, Happy Father's Day, Happy Father's Day. And for years, I would text back, say thank you, or when they called or whatever, I would say thank you. It was probably about 10, 15 years ago. The Spirit of God had came to me and said to me, as long as you say thank you when somebody says Happy Father's Day, you're saying that there is no vacancy. Mm. And I was like, So, that goes back to just making sure that we are not unintentionally stepping in a spot that is created for man. Mm-hmm. The head of the household, it is created for a man. But when that man is absent, that doesn't mean that you step in and become the man. That means you continue to keep charge of your house. Right. That's that Proverbs 31 woman without, tending to her husband. You know what I'm saying? Right, but right. You still have a household to tend to. You still have a household to be in charge of. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But continue to leave that headship open and available if you desire for a man to fill that position. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Because that is the rightful place of man. Yeah. And that's something I think sometimes we unintentionally, because we have been single mothers, you know what I'm saying, that we get that kind of misconstrued because we are cooking the bacon, bringing it home, slicing it, all of that. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So we sometimes get that misconstrued. Yeah. But we are temporarily filling a spot. Don't keep the vacancy sign open. Keep it saying vacancy. You know what I'm saying? So that God can do in us what he needs to do in us so that vacancy can be properly filled with the head that he has designated for us. Because the weight that we have, the strength that we have at the end of the day, we still want a man of God to be able to come in and help us to bear that load. So that because at the end of the day, they were meant to, because they have broad shoulders. Mm-hmm. So they were meant to, that strength and that tenacity that they also possess. But, what God has given us to be able to stabilize, that's a word, to stabilize the core when he created us from the real of our men, So that was just something that, has just really stuck with me throughout my years, as far as us just making sure that we keep that vacancy open for our husbands to be. And sometimes the vacancy, we have our husbands in a house, and we still forget who they are called to be. You know what I'm saying? Because I didn't have to get checked. I mean, it's coming up on 8 years. And the Lord had to check me and tell me, I'm going to need you to go sit yourself down somewhere and remember who I called to be the head of your house. Yeah. So,
and I think, when it comes to that, like, we have gotten such a misconstrued concept of that submissive, that submissive nature that you are supposed to have as a wife, and it never meant to.
Not a weakness. Submissiveness is not a weakness.
It's actually, it actually takes so much strength to submit yourself, because what you're saying is that I trust you, and
hush your face.
Yes.
Hush your face. Hush the lips.
Right.
And allow God to speak.
And do what he needs to do.
Speaking from experience.
And it's really to be humble, and Jesus was that. So Jesus was very submissive when you think about it. So I guess that would be another topic day.
I know, because we just went
right, because you could go for hours just on that topic of being submissive, but it's misconstrued, and so
very much so.
Yeah.
But as we come to the close, one of the things we definitely want to continue to point out is making sure, as women, we remember our spiritual strength is most important, because in that Even when we feel weak, God is made strong. We are right where we need to be when we start feeling weak in our own selves. And we invite God into the situation, no matter what it is. So we definitely are so grateful that you have decided to join us on this Sunday afternoon. If you remember, we do have the A team. That is where we get to continue to have this conversation on Facebook. So if you want to go to our Facebook, the Awakening Radio is on Facebook, and we will have a 18 nugget of the week there, so that we can complete this discussion. And maybe it should be, what do you think the strength of a woman is? Maybe we'll just go ahead and put that out there. Also, if you would like to be a sponsor of the Awakening, or if you would like to advertise with us, please also hit us up on the Awakening Radio on Facebook. And remember to stay woke as you rise up and heal. We thank you for tuning into the Awakening. Stay woke as you rise up and heal. Stay woke, rise up. Into the clouds, stay bright up. God always provides. Keep my eyes on the prize, so on the rise, taking the lead. I feel so alive. Wake up, never break down. We got to wait like a lighthouse. Stay woke, rise up. Into the clouds, stay bright up. God always provides. Keep my eyes on the prize, so on the rise, taking the lead. I feel so alive. Wake up, never break down. We got to wait like a lighthouse.